Hello you! Welcome to my channel, and as the title of the video suggests, this is how much I spent to become an NZRN. Disclaimer, this might not be the same for you or others. I used my credit card statement of account as reference, and in some expenses, kinonvert ko lang yung 1 NZD to 35.3 PHP kasi usually 34 to 35 naman yung exchange rate. I must have forgotten a couple of things here, but what I've mentioned is to the best of my knowledge. So without further ado, let's start with, of course, number 1 is my OAT. I paid 20,000 for that examination, excluding pa doon yung expenses ko from traveling from Surigao City to Cebu and then my hotel stay. Next one is the NCNZ application fee, which costs 485 NZD. After that one, I had to have my documents verified through CVS, CGFNS, and I paid $300 for that. Hindi ko na pala sinama pagbigkas yung cents, so just check the visual aids around this video for the exact amount. And then you have to allocate money for courier fees kasi kailangan mong ipadala yung mga documents going to CGFNS, I think sa US. So I used DHL and LBC for that. For my PRC documents, I paid 1,500 pesos. For my school documents, medyo napamahal ako kasi I had to do it twice or thrice kasi kulang yung mga pinapadala nila and yung mga documents ay mabigat. So, I think I almost paid 10,000 for that. For my local COE, I paid 1,500, and for my COE abroad, 2,000 pesos. And aside from that, I have to pay something sa Mumaris, or I forgot what it was and how much. So, hindi ko siya nasama sa pagtali. After I submitted everything and NCNZ gave me my cap letter, I started looking for schools. Yung napili kong school is more expensive than others, but I didn't mind kasi maganda yung feedback ng school and hindi masyadong toxic yung requirements nila. So I just paid the tuition fee, which was 11,500. That's like 405,000 pesos. I know mahal siya, but maganda kasi yung feedback. When I applied for my visa, everything was super smooth. Like, I received my visa within 48 hours. And during my APC application, it only took me 8 days compared sa iba na medyo matagal. So everything was smooth, and I think 11,500 is worth it. After choosing a school and paying for the tuition fee, I applied for invitation to apply here in New Zealand, and that's $45. Nung mag-grant na yung ITA ko, I applied for visa, which costs $246. And I think required kasi my insurance, so I purchased a student insurance good for 3 months from Southern Cross, and that was $180. I have to undergo background check from the 2 countries that I have stayed. So that's in the Philippines and in Saudi Arabia. That's why I paid 12,960. But if you only stayed in the Philippines, half lang nun yung babayaran mo. So around 6,000. Medyo nakatipid ako sa MIQ kasi may kahati ako sa room. So instead of paying 3,500 something, I only paid $2,025. For my flights from Butuan to Manila, including my excess baggage, that was 4,000 pesos. And then, initially, I booked flight from Manila to New Zealand via Cathay Pacific. But then, nung papalapit na yung flight ko, parang panay yung pa-cancel nila ng flight. So, what I did was, I just canceled my Cathay flight and I bought my ticket for like $638. Nag-request ako ng refund. Yung nabalik nilang sa akin is $488. So, parang nalugi ako ng 7,000 something. But it's okay because shit happens. So, since na-cancel yung flight ko from, yung Cathay flight ko, I booked another one through Korean Air, which was twice as much as expensive as my Cathay flight. Like, it was super expensive, but I have no choice kasi parang within that week na yung flight ko. So, my Korean Air ticket costs $1,200 US. And I bought an excess baggage worth 130 USD then. I also had to purchase a return ticket, so that was 1,500 USD. And then, nung okay na, I requested a refund. So, yung binalik nila sa akin was 1,383. So, na-thank you yung 6,000 ko pesos. I think yun lang naman muna yung kailangan mo para makapunta ka dito sa New Zealand. And when you're here, you have to allocate funds for the following. First is yung accommodation. The price depends on the area where you're staying in. For example, rent in Christchurch is way cheaper than rent here in Wellington. It would also be great kung meron kang kasabay or kakilala na nandito na, so that maybe you can ask them na kung pwede ba mag-split na lang kayo ng rent. Let's say you're going to pay 200 NZD per week and you have to stay here for 3 weeks. So that would be 2,400 NZD. But if you're here in Welly, it's really expensive kasi yung rent nila is like, for room lang is just 250 and excluding pa dun yung expenses like bills, utilities. Ganon. And let's say we're going to budget 1,200 NZD for food. And then for miscellaneous expenses like gala, konting shopping, others, sabihin na nating 3,000 NZD. So that would be 105,000 pesos. When I went here in New Zealand, I stayed in Christchurch and I think I only paid 150 for my room. But then that would mean I have to go to Palmerston North / Foxton for my competency assessment program. So I have to book flights going to Palmerston North. I have to allocate money for my flights. Let's say $300, but sinama ko na siya dun sa miscellaneous expenses na 3,000 NZD. Now, after ko mag-cap, I applied for my APC, that's application for registration here in New Zealand, and that was 110 NZD. And finally, for my work visa, I paid 495. So, in total, yung parang nagastos ko from the beginning until now that I'm working was like 913,502 pesos. So, it's like more or less, but I think it's not less. It's like more than that kasi meron pa akong hindi mga nasama like from yung short travels lang to process my documents. So, parang di ko na yun nasama. So, parang yung budget yun na din para pumunta dito is like around 1 million pesos. I know it's very expensive. Oh, by the way, di ko na pala sinama dito yung nagastos ko for medical kasi I had my medical done when I was applying as an international student. So, di ko na yun inulit nung nag-apply ako ng critical purpose visa. I just used the other one kasi it's valid naman, good for 3 years. But if you're going to include medical, just add 13,000 dito sa na-total natin. So that's it. My journey here is very challenging and expensive, but I believe na kung gusto mo, may paraan. And that's what I did. Were the expenses worth it? It's super duper duper worth it. I think kung gagastos ka ng around 1 million pesos, and if you work hard, not super hard, but just enough, pay what you owe for like 1 or 1.5 years. So if you have plans to go here, I wish you all the best and see you. That's it. Thank you for watching. Bye!